Hello and welcome to A Cat in the Garden. And this is a very special video today because first of all, it's Christmas when I'm filming this, so Merry Christmas everyone. And also, Nutmeg and I are out here because we had a very historic freeze here in Texas. The worst one since February of 2021, so almost 2 years ago. We had a worse freeze than this, or at least Texas did. I wasn't here yet. But I kind of scrambled covering up my plants, so you'll kind of see some things behind me. And I just want to show you how they did covered up for 4 days. So we're gonna go take a look at the garden, see how everything did, and I'll kind of go over the things that I did on a budget that actually saved a lot of my plants. So let's go. First up here is the collard greens. So they actually look pretty good. I just watered them because I think after a few days my soil is pretty dry. There's 2 plants here, and this is actually 2 plants as well. So they look all right. This damage was actually from before the freeze. We had a lighter freeze. Those little white spots are damaged, but they haven't had sunlight for a few days also, so that's kind of affecting the color on the leaves. But overall, they're fine. These older leaves that are damaged, they're just gonna die off and the new growth should be fine. What I did for them is I actually covered them up with these boxes first, and then I put on the frost cloth, and then on top of the frost cloth, it was a moving blanket. And I weighed everything down with these clips and a bunch of terracotta pieces that I just had around the house, just as much as possible to sort of weigh this bed down. These peppers were already dead, so I didn't really care about them. But collard greens, they were good. I sort of had the same concept over here in this bed, but unfortunately it wasn't as successful. So these were my chives. There are a couple pieces in the middle that are still alive, but there's quite a lot of dead here. I just think because they were young, tender leaves here, they just couldn't quite handle the cold. I did have boxes over the chives. The savory, I did not have any boxes over, and as you can see, there is some frost. There we go. There is some frost damage on the top, but most of the plant completely fine. This guy should be good for a while. And this is one of the most cold hardy leafy greens anyway. I did cover it with a little box and then put the frost cloth over it, but this is my mustard greens, and they're basically acting like nothing ever happened. So pretty happy about that one. I did not cover my milkweed or my salvia because they are perennials that die back and then come back in the spring anyway. So now I'm just gonna give them a good chop because they're not looking great. I was sort of running out of materials by the time I got to this bed, so this isn't as successful, but I will say that my bok choy did survive. These older leaves are definitely damaged on the outside, but the heart of the plant is good, so I'm feeling pretty good about that one. The peas, I don't think they're gonna make it. They're just pretty limp. This is a big shame because I was really enjoying getting the pea harvest, but I did buy some young plants recently, so I'll just replace them if they don't make a comeback, and we'll still have peas just a little bit later. And over here, this I kind of covered very last minute. Pretty sure I bent it a little bit. This is my blackberry bush. It was pretty young. It looks pretty dry and damaged, so I'm not really sure if this guy's gonna make it, but c'est la vie, I guess. Over here though is where things get really happy, really exciting. This is my parsley, and this is not like a hardy, woody perennial. This is pretty tender. I really didn't think it was going to make it, but this is like nothing ever happened, honestly, so I'm very excited about this. I literally cried when I opened the blanket and I saw that this guy was okay. My rosemary is a little squished from the frost blanket on top of it, but other than that, it's doing all right. My thyme over here has survived. As you can see, I did use these terracotta pots just to sort of lift my frost blanket off of most of my perennials. Obviously, it didn't work for the rosemary back there. And I also used it to help wrap these Christmas lights around. They are incandescent bulb Christmas lights, and that is very important because incandescent bulbs generate heat, We also made sure to get red because that is going to generate a little bit more heat than a cooler bulb, such as a blue, maybe even a white. So that was very important. And we just kind of had that on while the temps were freezing. Also, my oregano is fine. Literally like nothing ever happened. I am so shocked. Okay, sorry, phone died, had to charge it. But also, my saffron are fine. Sorrel is looking a little worse for wear. I'm thinking it got a little dried out actually. So I think once I water it, which I'll do right after this, it'll perk back up. More saffron looking absolutely fine. The sage, it looks great as well, maybe a little squish, but other than that, I think it looks okay. Over here, my cauliflower is still okay. Oh, it looks so good. This little cauliflower actually, I don't think is gonna really make it. It's just too small to have withstood the cold. My garlic actually is fine. It didn't even die back. My artichokes are slightly squished, but they are a-okay, which is really nice. Swiss chard is not doing great. The red one did the best actually, and the yellow one did the worst. This peppermint one is all right. Could be worse. Could be worse. The kale also did pretty well, but it got really thirsty. So I did just give them a drink. So hopefully they will be okay with that. Same with my bok choy and my broccoli. They did great, but they were also a bit thirsty. Oh, gotta put that back up for tonight. And carrots got a bit squished. They're coming up now, but unfortunately for them, I do have to cover them again tonight because it will freeze. These scallions, I really don't know if they're gonna make it. Oops, sorry. They're not looking great. They're a bit squished, a bit frozen. So we'll see about them. Luckily, they're a pretty easy plant to sow anyway. And then my leeks, the big ones look all right. They look thirsty. That's about it. And then the little guys actually did okay. So I'm really very happy about that. And the last thing I have to do really is just cover them back up, and then everything should be good. Okay, if you look behind me and Nutmeg, everything is all covered up and ready to go. It honestly, if you guys want, I can go into a more in-depth description of what I did and the costs and benefits. I think I paid a little bit over $100 for everything that I actually bought for this, and it's all things that are reusable for the foreseeable future, which is really nice. And it saved all of my planties this season, which was even better. But if you like this video, make sure to give us a thumbs up down below and subscribe so you don't miss anything else from me and Nutmeg out in the garden. Thanks so much for watching, and we will catch you in the next one.